Hi there, my name is Shannon and I'm Willamette Week's music and visual arts editor. And I'm here talking today with city forester and urban forestry division manager, Jenn Cairo. Jenn, how are you doing today?
Uh, okay, busy, Shannon, busy.
Yeah, is this, so I know that you've been getting a lot of emergency calls for tree falls. Is this, how unprecedented is this, the amount of tree falls that the city is dealing with right now?
Yeah, it is. It is a really big event. We haven't actually seen this level of activity since the ice storm in 2017 and 2018, that winter. By around 7 a.m. this morning, we had about 45 calls for assistance. And as of about an hour ago, it was 281. So that's a lot of work. And we have 12 staff out in the field doing that work and four other folks who handle the calls that come in during the day. So that's a whole lot of work for very few people.
Yeah, how are you prioritizing like who goes where? How do you figure that whole thing out?
Yeah, good question. So it really goes by the severity or the significance, the impact of the event. So trees that are blocking major roads or fully blocking roads, rather than things that may be blocking a sidewalk or partially blocking something, those are the ones we go to first. And that's always our protocol. We go to the ones that have the biggest impact on public safety and emergency response first.
What are some of the most serious calls you've gotten in the past 24 hours?
Well, there was a tree down overnight or into the morning at, let me see, I can't remember the exact addresses here, but one was at Southwest Terwilliger and Capitol, that intersection. That was a significant one that we actually had to wait a bit for our arborists to get to the tree work because there were power lines involved. So Portland General Electric had to come in first and shut those down for everyone's safety. And then there was another significant blockage at Northeast 28th and Cooch. That's also been addressed. That was this morning as well. Most of what we're seeing right now is smaller failures of limbs and trees, and some things are also getting addressed by local residents and adjacent property owners on their own.
Yeah, what are city arborists normally doing? Because I imagine that right now it's pretty much just go, 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 like constant cutting. Yeah. What are they doing when there isn't a giant windstorm like this?
Yeah, also a good question. We do, our crews are very well trained in safety and all things arboriculture in an urban environment. And what they do day to day is emergencies, because we do have things that happen day to day, just not at this volume at one time. But also they're doing more routine maintenance requests for things like tree work that people notice, park staff notice in parks, or other city staff notice on city properties. Also for construction projects that the city is itself doing. For example, if the Bureau of Transportation is working on a road improvement and there are trees that need to be pruned for that, then our arborists will help with that work.
What's the process of like removing a tree that has fallen in an urban area as opposed to, you know, just uh, clearing fallen trees off of hiking trails or whatever?
Yeah, there are a couple significant differences. One is the environment in which our folks are working. So there's often traffic and power lines, other potential safety hazards that aren't present when one is out on the hiking trail, as you said. So those are things that our arborists are very skilled at assessing and doing in a safe way. Also, there's the expediency of the issue. A hiking trail is less used by fewer people, and clearly public roads in a city are highly used and very important. So we do everything we can to get there quickly and resolve the obstruction really quickly. And again, our folks are few in number, but very adept at doing that. And right now we've put aside most of our division, everything else that we're doing, including the folks who are getting the calls for help. They do other type of work during the day. And right now they're really focused on emergency response as well.
Yeah. How long is that going to last? Because, like you
Hmm.
said, you're having to I imagine that there's a huge backlog of calls right now. So, how long do you imagine you'll be dealing with this?
Yeah, it usually, when we have a significant event like this, takes a few days at least, if not several days. And with a volume like this, we are getting to the most urgent, high priority issues right away. And other ones will have to wait a little while. And there's also often some cleanup. So I would expect we'll be continuing to work on this well into next week at this point.
How can Portlanders help you guys out? Like, if they're trying to decide whether or not they should call, should
Yeah.
they wait until you guys have less of a backlog, or does it not make a difference? Should they just call now and add it to the list?
Yeah. Uh, well, the first thing is proactive tree maintenance, so not in emergency mode, is really important to avoiding needing emergency response and for keeping trees safe and reducing safety hazards to the public and to our staff. So one thing folks can do is the trees on their own property, as well as the trees that are in the right of way in front of their home. In Portland, it's the city's code that the adjacent property owner is responsible for maintaining those street trees. So getting a qualified municipal arborist to do routine tree work will help a lot in reducing future incidences. So maybe this is a good time to think about that and remind folks to get that done. And then otherwise, yeah, when there is a true emergency, which means a tree is, or part of a tree is blocking a road, a public road, or a sidewalk, and it's a larger piece of wood, not something that a resident could resolve on their own, then they should call 503-823-TREE, which is 8733. And the folks that we have there, those four folks I mentioned before, will speak with them about the situation and then dispatch staff arborists to help as appropriate. And things that are not emergent right now, if folks have questions about regulatory needs or tree planting or other programs around trees in the city that we also work on, it would be great if they could wait to do those until later.